So for this video, I thought it'd be a good idea to go over a case where a monitor misidentified T waves for QRS complexes, and as a result, shocked the T wave and put this patient into VFib. This case and all of these strips that I found are off the internet, more specifically from a blog by a man named Christopher Watford, I believe is his last name. Anyways, I'm going to link the blog post in the description below this video so you have an opportunity to actually look through the case and get all the nitty-gritty details about it. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to show you, or rather, I'm just going to show you where the machine goofed up and then what happened as a result of that, just to really emphasize the importance of making sure that when you are sync cardioverting somebody, you're actually paying attention to where the sync marks are. So if we look at this rhythm strip, we can see that what we have here is a wide complex regular tachycardia. If we blow up one of these leads, and we'll look at lead 3 here, we can see that these QRS complexes, which are right here, are pretty wide. The QRS complex starts here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4-ish small boxes. So that puts the rate of above, or rather the QRS interval above 120 milliseconds. We can see that we can see that there is an absence of any sort of P waves. No P waves there, no P waves there, no P waves there, no P waves there. And it doesn't even seem like there's anything within the T wave, which is this complex right here, to suggest that there is in fact a P wave present. Additionally, the rate itself is greater than 130 times a minute, so we can be fairly confident in our decision to manage this per ACLS, in that if this person was stable, you would give amiodarone, or really just amiodarone, 150 milligrams over 10 minutes, and if they were unstable, you would go straight to electrical cardioversion. Now, in the blog post, apparently this patient wasn't doing so well. They had an altered level of consciousness, and so they are unstable by that metric. And the paramedics did what any paramedic should do in that situation, is they performed a synchronized cardioversion. So the next strip that I have for you here is the strip that the machine records leading up to a cardioversion attempt. You'll see that they elected to use 100 joules of electricity to perform this cardioversion. And what I want to draw your attention to is this lead 2 right here. And if we blow this up, we can see that there are pacer spikes, but the sync spikes. But the sync spikes, they seem to be all over the place. And so that should be your first clue if you were ever to be in this situation and you were making sure that you weren't going to inadvertently shock the wrong wave, is really evaluate these pacer spikes and where they are in relationship to each individual wave. And so if we break down one of these complexes, what we'll see here is that this is in fact the QRS complex, and then this is the T wave. Now, it looks to me that the T wave in this particular situation is a lot larger than the QRS complex. However, the way we can tell that it is in fact the T wave and not the QRS complex is the fact that we've got this J point right here. And as you probably have remembered me saying on numerous occasions, is you can always tell a T wave by the way the wave kind of veers off to one direction like this. And you can see that veering beginning right at that J point. Now, if we move down a little bit further down the strip, we'll see that one of the pacer spikes, or not pacer spikes, and I don't know why I keep saying that, but one of the sync spikes is syncing right on that T wave. If we take this mental image of that section of the end of the QRS complex and the beginning of the T wave, we can compare it to this complex, and we can see that this spike right here is really syncing to this part of the T wave, which is bad. And as you can see, as a result of this misidentification and syncing to this part of the T wave, when the shock is delivered, which is this section of strip right here, the leads apparently come off. So, that's interesting. But following that shock, this is the subsequent rhythm strip. I guess once they got their lead situation figured out, the patient is very clearly in a coarse VFib. You have disorganized, kind of sporadic activity, and obviously this person went into cardiac arrest. Now, hope is not lost. They were very astute in identifying that something had gone wrong, and they provided an unsynchronized defibrillation at 200 joules. And again, you see that area on the strip where the shock was delivered. And following that defibrillation attempt, they restored an organized rhythm, which appears to be sinus. We have a P wave, we have a QRS complex, and then I do believe that this is the T wave. So take home points, make sure that your sync spikes are in fact syncing to the R waves or S waves and not the T waves. If you do find yourself in a situation where you see this, you can, at least on LifePak, and granted I'm not familiar with the other monitor defibrillators, but I have to imagine they're the same. You can re-designate your main sync lead to a different lead, maybe like lead 3, in which case the monitor might have a better time or an easier time of identifying the correct intervals to sync to, which would be the S wave or the R wave, but definitely not the T wave. Anyways, I do highly recommend you guys going and reading that blog post for all the details. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you again.